some kind of, judicial corruption, you have the terminologies. First off, as a lawyer, is Professor Chidi Odinkalu's claim, is it a valid one, Barrister Tony?
Well, I want to agree with him to an extent. I don't think I should disagree with him in any form. But the other part to add is that it's not just in the judiciary. Well, in the appointment of judges and magistrates. Now, sometimes you come to the judiciary and ordinary staff of the judiciary, you see the father, the mother, and three children all working in the same judiciary, right? Probably different locations, but it shows a family business, okay? When you have a father as a registrar of courts, the wife as a registrar of courts, the one of the brothers or two of the brothers also in the same registry, working as staff. Ordinarily, one would say when you have one person in a family working in a particular institution, the other should locate some other institution to avoid and compromise, okay?
Okay.
The judiciary is somewhere where there could be a lot of compromise could easily happen, and that's the last hope of the common man. A lot of things hang on decisions that are made there. So when you have your father as the exhibit keeper in one court and the son is probably at the other court and can be approached to compromise some positions. It doesn't really speak well of that office. But that is how Nigeria has evolved over time. From tradition, Nigeria believes in hereditary, even in churches. You find parents trying to make their children take over churches from them. If you go to banking sector, you find most of the people in the banks are people that whose parents were either at the central bank or apex of the banking industry, and they rise very quickly, right?
Yes.
So it is something that is interwoven into the fabrics of the Nigerian culture,
Okay.
and we appreciate it.
Okay, Barrister Tony, I
If
like
you work as a chief judge,
this your analogy.
yeah, if
This
you
your
work as a chief
analogy.
judge of the state,
This your analogy is very interesting. I know you are a lawyer and you are vast. You have a show that is very popular that deals, on legal issues and the critical nitty-gritties. I've listened to you. But will you take succession plan of a business enterprise or a ministry? Forgive me, because the ministries, even in Africa, are run as business enterprise, to somewhere as with it's supposed to have a lot of sanctity and supposed to have a lot of reputation, like the judiciary. Remember when Atiku said the last time that if he goes to appeal, he doesn't get to seek redress, he doesn't get judgment, and he goes to the Supreme Court, he doesn't get judgment. The next place he's going to is to seek judgment from God, which means after Supreme Court, there is no other way. So if at this level, the Supreme Court, there are allegations over the years. Professor Isa Sage also said the same thing when he was Judicial Advisory Council for Muhammadu Buhari. If the Supreme Court becomes encroached or becomes enmeshed in serious issues of compromisation and corruption, and the accusing figures are being pointed to the politicians, because they are the ones, arguably, that are the ones orchestrating all these kind of appointments against lawyers who have merits. Should we not be afraid? Should we not be worried that there is a problem with our democracy?
of course, we should be worried that there's a problem with our democracy, but not worried that there's a problem with the judiciary. Now, let's take for instance, I am a Supreme Court judge, and I have a son. I have mentored, and he's very perfect in the craft. Would I recommend him to be appointed as a magistrate? I think I would. All right, without saying he's my son, so he's not qualified. If he's qualified and he does well, I've seen lots of judges' children that are excellent in their craft. And if they are appointed, I would not bat an eyelid, okay? But yet again, there are some that don't even have the qualities or the qualification. And they get promoted and elevated when they ought not to be elevated. just because the father wants to reward the son. Okay? There are certain children that have come to study law when they weren't supposed to study law. They didn't want to study law, but their parents pushed them into law. And they come out and they can't practice the law profession because they don't have the aptitude.
Exactly.
And their parents, in a way, as a way of settling them, would make recommendations. Please get him a job here, get him to be magistrate, and over time he will rise in the rank and get to be a judge and probably advance to the Supreme Court. Sometimes it works, a lot of times it doesn't work. But I dare say, where a man is qualified for an office, he should not be discriminated against on the premises that the parents also work in that sense.